Well, let's try another an alternative recording method, because that other one was too quiet, I would say. And I enjoyed recording in the car, actually. It was a good place. Not that I've said anything particularly relevant, but I'm taking the car up again to have a bit of a constitution. I don't feel quite vigorous enough to walk as much as I was walking previously, and so I'm just taking things steady, and I'm doing a walk around the woods and everything, but I'm not walking all the way up there, so I'm shortening the walk by a couple of miles, and that's fine. It's 5 o'clock, so it's the time of the kind of most traffic, although it's not too bad at the moment because the schools are off. Things that I think is interesting, and I don't know what people think about it, but since I formed the idea and the conviction really that I am going to go through all the trials and tribulations to move up to the north of England, so I'm going to follow through. And that's generally a good thing. If you say you're going to do something, just do it. It saves an awful lot of soul searching, doesn't it? And since I've made that kind of commitment, or I've come to that understanding, I felt kind of energized. I was thinking of that expression that is sometimes used when you say that you're galvanized. You feel galvanized. And that's kind of interesting because galvanized implies some kind of electrical current. Well, why do people buy Teslas? There has to be a reason for it, but it's unclear to me. But it's possible that some kind of a resolution or some kind of decision like that can generate an electrical current that maybe invigorates the spirit. Come on now, you people. Yes, 5 o'clock isn't the best time to come out of my road. Maybe this kind of loss of energy is related to state of mind. You could argue it. To my state of mind, a sense of hopelessness isn't particularly beneficial, is it? It's weird the way that health is so intimately linked with emotions and sort of self-esteem and feelings. When I made the error, and it is an error, of falling in love a year and a half ago, it's an error because there's nothing wrong with loving, but of course falling isn't great. What's going on here? Far too much traffic and roadworks. I'm not going to let me out. Okay then. Thank you, sir. Well, that road is closed, in fact. Who knew? This is a very busy area. This road goes all the way into town, and it's absolutely 100% Asian down here. You very rarely find anybody of my race in this area. I remember my father remarking on it many years ago. He'd walked all the way from Hall Green, where he was living at the time with my auntie, and he'd walked into town to pick up the car, as I remember it. And he remarked on just the general ethnicity of the area, which had surprised him. And it's only become greater since then. It really is absolutely complete, because the very few people, white people, that are living in this area tend to move out, as I'm intending to do. You either move out or you die off. That's the solution. Your culture's not coming back, is it? And that's how it is. There's nothing to be done. Now the weather's turned a little bit cloudy this afternoon, and I decided to take my walk a little bit earlier and have my steak when I return. Roads. Squashes, squeezes. What are they? Just an interminable line of cars. People many of whom will be commuting, and there's a very good public transport service in this city. But I suppose people don't use it. I would prefer to walk up here, actually, if my general level of health is good enough. Me into the hedge bit. But a bit of change brings a little bit of salt to the mix, I suppose, and salt is another thing that helps the generation of electrical current. Maybe I should sleep on the earthing pad tonight and see if I have another dream of my impending demise or something of that nature. We need the air conditioning on today. And an interesting thing about that dream, which only occurred to me later, is that the tower into which I was led, or that I walked up the stairs in a tower as I went to my death. And I was thinking about the concept of a tower and the concept of witchcraft and sort of narcissistic bondage and the Jezebel spirit. And I was reminded of the fact that Jezebel fell to her death from a tower. She'd become trapped, as it were, in a tower. It's one of the ways that they would used to hunt people down, I think, seek refuge in a tower, and then I think she was pushed out of the window at a certain point. And only at that moment would she have realized the finality of everything as she hurtled towards the ground below. And so it is, but that ties in with the description of narcissistic personality disorder that I read in a book by Alexander Lowen many years ago. And he described this condition in quite chilling detail, the seriousness of it. And he explained that the sufferer really surrounds themselves, ultimately, as the illness progresses or as the psychological condition progresses, they come to live, as it were, isolated in a tower. They're surrounded by something like mirrors, and the people that they interact with, they just see them as aspects of their own personality, to be embraced or to be opposed, depending on how they make them feel. And so the sufferer of NPD is actually, like Jezebel, is marooned in something like a tower from which they cannot escape. And spellcraft has placed them there, that they have participated in too freely without realizing its danger. And I suppose they could be removed through exorcism. And I don't know exactly how exorcism is practiced. I've got a few ideas, and I'd certainly have a go if I get the opportunity. But it's quite a thing, isn't it, to start ordering spirits around. Spirits are powerful entities, and in the Bible, when the disciples try to command a spirit to leave a man, they find that they're unable to do so. And Jesus tells them that that particular spirit can only be removed with fasting and prayer. And perhaps the Jezebel spirit is a similar type of spirit. If it can be removed, perhaps it cannot. But it seems worth a try if anybody has the opportunity. God bless.